Welcome back, everybody, to Dreamhack Valencia 2016. It's time to wrap up day number 1 with our 7th round of Swiss. After 6 rounds of play, we have a few players who are still undefeated. Some of them you may have recognized their names. Some of them are still up-and-coming players. I'm joined by Raven and Nimsh over in the casting area. They're going to bring you the next series, and I'm going to dip out shortly after. But it's going to be a great time to see what's been up to some of these players. I think our next series, especially indicative of that, we've seen Bunnyhoppor in the Winter Championships for Europe for the Hearthstone Championship Tour. And it's cool to see him back up against Vinz, a player from France that we don't really know too much about, but I'm sure French players would back up that he's one of the stronger players that comes up to these tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, like, Vince is definitely one of the stronger players. He's from Melty, and all of the guys from Melty at the moment are 5-1. So Tars is 5-1.
Tars included.
Yeah, exactly. Even though Vince said like he's not bringing the same lineup, so no Concede Shaman in there. But he has some experience with Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, so definitely one of the strongest players from France. Where Bunnyhoppor, it is his first big LAN after HCD. Like, HCD was his first like LAN tournament, and that was his second, and he started with a loss. But he is able to climb back, and you know, with the X1, he will be guaranteed to go through.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see Bunnyhoppor play. I was talking to him just before we started, and he's not feeling too confident about the way the lineups go, as he's not quite. Even at this stage, he's not quite sure what Vinz is playing exactly. So when there's a Swiss tournament like this, scouting is a very real thing to try and work out what the players, what decks they have before they have to face them. But he's not 100% sure what Vinz is actually bringing him because he's part of the French scene, and we know those guys like to bring some crazy stuff now and again. He's like, okay, I don't really know exactly what these archetypes could be, so I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. So I'm not feeling too confident, but Bunnyhoppor is an exceptionally good player.
And you know what? I like the consistency because we've seen Bunnyhoppor at HCT, we've seen Vince at Dreamhack Austin top 16 and at PGL. So those guys are here. They only have one loss, but they are not like random guys. They're just guys we've seen before.
Exactly. And, you know, for me specifically, it's very striking to see that kind of impressive result from Bunnyhoppor. He's only entered a few lands. I think another Dreamhack he did go to. But at 2 out of 3 events, he's already doing very well. So I think that's already giving people another flag of attention, a player perhaps that we don't really pay attention too much to, but maybe we should. He's, by the way, on Team Virtus Pro, sharing along the lines of recent upcoming players too, like Neyman and Dr. Hippie. And I don't think that's like really a coincidence at all that these guys who go to the championship ends up being able to place well in other tournaments. And I think Virtus Pro is, again, one of those teams that if you don't really think about for a while, but they start doing really well, maybe we start considering them. What does it take for them to win a BlizzCon, for them to be considered? I mean, if you think about Na'Vi and Virtus Pro, it could be the same thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in this series. And once again, Nimsh and Raven, you guys will be casting the series, so take it away.
Thanks a lot, Fredem. So it's going to be the Shaman versus the Warrior as the first game. So it looks like the Warlock was banned out for Vince, and Bunnyhoppor's lost his Warrior. Warrior being one of the most common bans I think we've seen throughout the whole tournament today. Not too much of a surprise there, but did see a pretty interesting deck already from Vince, as I believe that was a flash of a Deathwing. So
yeah, it seems like it's a Control Warrior with Dragons, which is the deck I've seen Maverick play and York play in France at the Hearthstone Festival. Maverick was able to take the tournament, which was I think 128 people Swiss, and York was in the top 6 of the same tournament. So the deck worked for those guys, and it seems like the French scene actually likes it.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to see how these decks actually interact with each other, because this straight away from Bunnyhoppor looks like the mid-range variant. And historically, Shaman's performed quite well versus Control Warrior styles because they just keep pressing totem and make you brawl. Like not a really huge sort of mana-dependent board. And then you just build the board again, threaten a Bloodlust, for example. That's how it used to go. But these are two, like this is the new mid-range variant of Shaman, and then this weird sort of Dragon Control Warrior. So it'd be cool to see how these two decks interact, because I believe it's not something that we've really seen too often, at least.
Yeah, definitely. But then, I would still give a slight advantage to the Warrior, because you do have the brawls, you have all the tools to remove the board. He actually missed an opportunity to be able to remove the 3/4, because normally Warrior does have the Fireworks and the Blood to Ichor, or a possibility to deal this 1 extra damage. But now the 3/4 is a bit troublesome. He decided not to attack with the champion to deal 3 damage to it, or just even go face and force a trade. So
yeah, the problem with going face is you sort of open yourself up to just like a rock biter to kill it, and then the totem golem's still on the board
Yeah,
and
exactly.
still stacking damage. So I definitely understand that the hold back there. And again, like, you know, he could just bash the totem golem and like build up for like shield slam or second bash, but that's like 2 bashes to kill a 2-drop. You know, that's like 6 mana's worth just to deal with a total golem. So that is a bit of a problem. But looking at Bunnyhoppor's rest of his hand, like 2 lightning storms, not really what you want versus this deck.
yeah, it doesn't look great against Warrior. Also Stormcrack. What do you think about a card in the mid-range Shaman?
I think it's pretty good, actually. There's a lot of minions with full health that you're really happy to kill. You know, you look at cards like Tomb Pillager, Azure Drake, you know, Frothing Berserker. There's so many good targets for Stormcrack that, especially in mid-range, you have the space normally to fit cards like this in. And just to go 2 mana, there goes, you know, these key cards, like, you know, Azure Drake, like I said, is a pretty useful tag.
Definitely. So for Vince, because he didn't have a better choice, just bashing the free 4, dealing that free damage, it's he is going to lose that armor, but at least the minion is at 3/1, so it will be easier to kill it. If he picks something like Revenge, maybe. I believe Revenge is in this deck. Yeah. This is the Control
And
Warrior.
there's still probably going to be Ghouls as well, because that card's just so good. You play it in pretty much every Warrior deck. But yeah, it's like just what he had to do with the cards he had, right? The resources didn't line up well at all versus Totem Golem, and that's the strength of the card. The 4 health is actually a real problem coming out on 2 mana.
Yeah, for most of the decks. Bunnyhoppor pretty happy about the 2-1 pickup. He was able to play the minion, even though he is expecting a Ghoul this turn. The 2-1 would survive the Ghoul. There will be need for something else to be able to follow up, but there's obviously no Ghoul. So now Vince still faces the same dilemma, what to do against this board.
Yeah, it's really awkward, isn't it? Because there's still, if there was any way to like set up a clear next turn, fine, you just sort of take the rough turn again now, and then set up for the following turn to clear the board, but there just isn't. It's like, you know, you can't really count Brawl when there's only 2 minions on the board, and none of them are particularly, you know, super impactful by themselves, but the fact that there's just no relevant removal, because, you know, look at Vince's hand, his opening hand was Deathwing, Chillmore, you know, like not cards you want at this stage in the game at all.
Definitely. So there's a couple of options here. Bash and the free 1 is probably like the biggest one that I'm thinking about. I was also looking at Alexstrasza Champion into the 2-1 and then armor up, but it didn't look that appealing, so probably not a play.
Yeah, and now on the same aspect of Vince's hand, we look at Bunnyhopper sort of struggle with his. There's no there's no minions to Stormcrack or double Lightning Storm. You know, he has a lot of removal, but nothing to actually remove. The Hex is good to have against a deck like this because there's a lot of big targets you want to just shut down. But when there's nothing on the board, it's just going to be hero power. But as I said earlier, in this matchup, I believe that like the Shaman just pressing Totem, as long as he's not under too much threat, is actually a good thing. You build up the board and just, you know, threaten to. We yet to see cards like Thunderbluff Valiant, where like a board of Totems suddenly becomes a huge threat that you can't ignore.
So don't you think like this this game at the moment favors the Warrior though? Because Warrior will draw into Corruptors. Warrior has Deathwing, it has removal.
Hey, Corruptor also dies to Stormcrack.
Yeah, it does die to Stormcrack, but overall, like, there are shield blocks, so you have more ways, I guess, to draw the cards. I believe there's also Justicar Trueheart in the deck, because I don't see a reason not to play it in the Control Warrior. So
yeah,
it should favor Warrior in the long
to
run.
be fair, though, this is Dragon control, so you've got to make the space for, you know, the slots somewhere to fit all this Dragon synergy in. But it's a real tough one. Like, at the moment, it's not looking too good, but Bunnyhopper has now like at least Lightning Storm targets if he wants to. He is going to want to play the or way up playing the Fire Elemental next turn, but he is just going to use the Lightning Storm. If he didn't use it then, that's probably the best Storm he's going to get all game. So why not and just use the card in his hand and play a bit of a slower game, because he is building up the totems and the Warrior's got no way to pressure him. There's like no damage coming out from the Warrior whatsoever, and even this turn again, like Slam does nothing. It's just going to be hero power pass.
Yeah, it's probably the best one. You don't want to slam those totems. You want to get some value from slam because you also are a bit like behind with the cards in your hand. So definitely, I see like armor up pass.
Yeah, and that's like fine for the Shaman, because Bunnyhopper, like Bunnyhopper's hero power versus the Warriors, like Bunnyhopper will win out because of cards like Thunderbluff and the potential Bloodlust. I don't know if he's running them, but you know, you just make the presumptions based on the mid-range style of the Shaman.
Flame Tongue.
Yeah, exactly. Like suddenly that's 4 damage, so you're dealing with his hero power and doing additional damage per turn, and you've not really committed anything to the board whatsoever.
You've also dealt with armor, so Shield Slam is not that powerful anymore after this.
And we've seen the Alexstrasza Champion. You make the the presumption that, well, this isn't Cthulhu deck, so it's not like anyone can play Ancient Shield Bearer and then Shield Slam for like ridiculous sums of armor.
Do you know what it is though? Like at the moment, I think you probably do, because you've seen Champion, you've seen Double Bash, so you know this is the Control Dragon. Because I'm sure Bunnyhoppor knows exactly what this deck is. His good friend Nixley was playing in the same event, and Nixley made top 3, I believe. So, or even he was
top 4.
Top 4, top 3, yeah, something like that. So, so basically, Nixley definitely told Bunnyhoppor, "Hey, this deck is real. It is actually being played in France."
Yeah, and it's going to be. Okay, so this just looks like it's almost certainly going to be a Hex turn, because you've built the board up. It's not like super threatening with these totems. 5 damage a turn, though, and you don't want them just wiped out. Like, if you trade everything in, your whole board gets gone, and there's no good way without... I suppose you could use Rockbiter to trade in to finish up, but then the board might get cleared, and then you've just got Fire Elemental, which is okay as a single target, but you have both Hexes in hand. Means that you can like use this one already, keep the pressure on the board, and you've still got a backup Hex straight away for the next bomb that's going to come out from the wall.
Yeah, I definitely like that Hex as well. Even though there is nothing much you can do apart from the hero power, it's still a good situation. As you said, there is so much good stuff you can do with the totems as a shaman.
And look at this, like there's just totems on the board. The warrior's on 22 health, and he's not really got a great way to deal with it. He has Brawl, but you've just brawled a board of hero powers. Like it's the same way more mid-range control paladins used to play against warrior. They just used to press hero power and say you will not be able to continually answer this board.
And it's just enough to win.
Yeah.
Corruptor here is really good to deal with the Flametongue Totem, armor up as well, because as you said, you will not brawl the totems. This is something you definitely want to avoid, especially because Shaman will have a better board. There is Feral Spirit, there is Thunderbluff Valiant, so maybe you want to brawl the board after that happens and not just 4 totems. And you kind of deny the hero power now.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, it is strange. I mean, he can trade in the 1/1 and then regenerate.
Okay.
But what you can do now as well is he can trade in, regenerate the 1/1, and all he's done really is played 1 minion onto the board. So if this brawl happens, yeah, you'd love the Fire Elemental to live, but if one thing's going to survive, and he's not really done anything, he's just used a brawl, and he can only run 2. Like, it's only going to last so long. Not even played the Thunderbluff yet.
You don't have to brawl yet. I think we can definitely start with the slam, see what you draw. He decides for the brawl here.
The problem is, if you slam, you normally want to execute, right, based on his hand. So you don't have any easy, like, execute procs. A shield slam, then you suddenly have to hero power, shield slam.
And
then
execute shield slam afterwards.
Yeah, it's too much, too many resources to go into an execute. So I don't mind the brawl, but again, there's just like Tuskar, hero power, suddenly the board's full again, then you've got Flametongue, so just yet more options where Bunnyhoppor doesn't have to commit a lot of his resources. Yeah, he still creates a threatening board for Vinz.
Well, important part is also there's also that Deathwing, but Deathwing is really dangerous to be played so early. You discard your hand, and if there's the second Hex, you really are in trouble. And also, like, even if there is a board of totems, Thunderbluff Valiant does buff that board. It's +8 with 4 totems on board, so...
Yeah. Yeah, and that's without any additional totems like Flametongue, Manatide, as we can see, is drawn now. So Manatide even gives another priority kill target to Vinz that you can't ignore and just cycles for Bunnyhoppor. So it's just one of those, another awkward target to deal with.
Yeah, it's a good situation.
Unless he wants to fatigue Bunnyhoppor and they just leaves the Manatide up and he's like, your hand's looking pretty full as it is, so keep drawing, friend.
You might be laughing, but maybe that is a valid strategy. This is a Control Warrior. Control Warrior can go to fatigue. So Manatide Totem it is. He was able to draw another card. Basically, Bunnyhoppor is drawing better than Vinz here, but Vinz was able to pick up Shield Block to cycle it.
Yeah, he really needs a minion. He needs to develop something onto the board, and that
is a nice minion.
Do. Well, so what you can do now is Shield Slam the 4/4, Fire War Axe the Manatide, and play the Twilight Guardian. And this is like the draw of the minion was huge there because. He could have done this turn and then just armored up instead of Twilight Guardian, but then what does that do? You're in the same situation the following turn, so
you want to have some board
massive,
at least. Like, you need something to be able to consistently kill totems every turn.
You just need to put pressure on it in any way. Even a second Alex Trials champion would be worthwhile because it's just a minion to actually play onto the board. Because at the moment, he's probably not going to want to Deathwing at this point in the game as there's still second Hex. The Shaman's on full health, so it's not like you're setting up just a turn
it's just
kill
too
afterwards.
Risky. And also, like, you lose the dragon, so all the cards that require a dragon to be active, you actually will not be able to activate them. But still, Bunnyhoppor has a good turn. Like he is able to clear this 3/6 if he chooses to. Flametongue Totem plus Stormcrack can easily clear it. That's actually 4 mana, so he will have 3 more left, which means he will be able to play, well, Feral Spirit, Totem Golem. Like, he has a couple of choices.
Yeah. Go just Hero Power first, see what comes out. Just the 1/1, nothing too crazy.
So
I mean, he could even just Stormcrack Rockbiter if he didn't want to commit the Flametongue this turn, because with the Flametongue there'd only be 1 minion that can attack, and you normally want to play it when you can get the value straight away.
Yeah.
Looks like he might be going. Oh, he's just going to fill up the board, go all in with the Feral Spirits there. I say all in. It's not like he's committed every card he's got, but go heavy on the board. He's seen 1 brawl. The likelihood of a second is as low as it's going to be at this point in the game.
Yeah, that's good as well, I think, because at the moment, like, it's asking a question. Like, you had a brawl, Vince. Do you have a second brawl? Like, if you have revenge, it doesn't matter. I have all those totems, and it will not be easy for you to clear everything. Like, Vince has a way to kill both wolves, but then he actually will have to slam the Flametongue totem and think about executing it then.
Yeah, he might even just execute the wolf, right?
Yeah, it's better because he will not take damage.
Yeah, execute the wolf, trade into the other wolf.
I think you still start with the slam to see what you get, which actually draw.
Because what you want to do this turn is get True Heart down. He needs to start stacking armor, so that card needs to come down as soon as possible.
And also, you really want to deal with the Flametongue totem because it is a lot of damage and it will help to kill the 2/6.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure this trade happens no matter what goes on and what's drawn from slam this turn. Just take the damage on the Twilight Guardian. So it looks like he's just not going to respect the Flametongue enough because it's only currently buffing 1 minion. But he's got 3 totems he can just stack trade into that he doesn't really care about.
Yeah, definitely. So Bunnyhoppor will be able to kill this board easily with that Flametongue totem. From Vince's perspective, like, he's keeping slam for something bigger, maybe. Like, he's expecting thing from below, possibly. Is there anything bigger from Shaman that can come? Valiant, and you have to deal with Valiant.
Yep.
Yeah,
there's even mid-range variants that are playing Flame with Faceless, for example. They just play like as a one-of. So that's definitely another minion you want to be able to deal with because, again, Deathwing isn't really like a single target removal card a lot of the time. You really want it to just completely wipe out a board as like, a brawl you always win.
Yeah.
For example. But
and you want to play Deathwing after the second Hex.
Yeah, you need to play it when it's confident as possible it's going to survive.
Unless you are actually forced to play it earlier to be able to remove the board. But then you definitely will be set up after seeing Hex.
Yeah, this is actually just another reasonable storm. You just more than likely kill off the board here. And worst case, he has to trade a totem. And he does get the high roll.
Yeah, I like how Bunnyhoppor is preserving his own board and keeping all those totems. Even though they don't seem to do that much, they are annoying for the warrior, and they just demand response.
Yeah, well, as long as you do more than 4 a turn, then you're always chipping away on health because obviously the hero power even buffed only armors up for 4. So if you can do like 6+ every turn with the board, then it doesn't really matter because you're just always going to chip away and you demand an answer. And it looks like Vince has drawn the second brawl, but it's just the same issue as before.
Yeah.
Like he's brawling totems. Like
this brawl is, I mean, this board is not that threatening. It's just like 8 power.
But if he doesn't deal with it, he will die. Like
eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually he will. Especially with Valiant. I mean, at this board at least, like, you cannot really Valiant and Hero Power to buff everything because you will not have enough space. So that's also a nice read from Vince. That Valiant would not be that powerful unless
the real reason for Stormcrack Nim. She can Stormcrack his own minion.
Yeah.
Stormcrack the Totemic just so he's got space to hero power.
Get the buff and buff the totems. Yeah, that wouldn't be that bad, but Vince just says, hey, this board is okay. Like, it's a good board, but it's not good enough for me to like use the second brawl because I know this is my last brawl in the deck, and then I'll be forced to use the Deathwing, which might be troublesome if there is a second Hex. And the longer we go into the game, the bigger the chance that the Hex is there.
Yeah, it seems like Vince just isn't really afraid of Bloodlust either. Probably just doesn't think it's in the deck. I mean, there's not a lot of mid-range running that card too often at the moment.
A lot of people cut it from the list.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not too afraid of that, which is reasonable because, as we said, not too common. But if there was a Bloodlust, then it's just game over.
There's another Guardian. So Bunnyhoppor also knows there is a dragon in the hand. That's the information he has for certain because he's seen a couple of cards being activated by the dragon.
And you almost have to presume it's Deathwing at this point. What other dragon would you have? He's had 1 card in his hand all game, never played it, and always had the dragon proc, what dragon would you keep in your hand?
Maybe a second Twilight Guardian, but because like if you have a second,
But you would have played it on this board even if it's taunt, like no taunt, because you can start trading the totems, right?
It is a tough decision because it's just into 6 no taunt, and you
But you kill the
don't have
totems.
more dragons. Yeah.
It would just poke the totems down because of the high health.
I think it's a pretty good guess that definitely is in the hands of Vinz for sure.
You see the brawl does come down and clear everything except the flame tongue. But
Oh, Alak here! Wow, cool.
well, he has Rockbiter as well, so actually just like holding on to Alakir, build the board up, deal with the Twilight Guardian, and because the Warrior's still on only on 23.
I wonder if he's playing like a Doomhammer as well, like one Doomhammer, one Alakir.
Yeah. I think a lot of lists have actually just chosen Alakir or Doomhammer a lot of the time, because one of the reasons behind Alakir without Doomhammer is that you hit a lot of points in the meta where everyone just plays weapon removal.
True.
Because weapon classes are so prevalent.
And it just gives you an extra burst with your Rockbiters and Flame.
And also potential return, like more return damage, because it's actually just a difficult minion to deal with a lot of the time as well.
Yeah.
Another dragon.
That's good, but this board is still really tricky. He was keeping that slam, so I believe the slam.
I think now you slam execute, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then you kill the totem. The flame tongue.
Yeah. Ghoul pretty pointless at this stage since there's a healing totem down and he can't actually kill it. But we do see the execute, no surprise. Going to be an armor up. He'll want to armor up every single turn because he's not even come close to being at like the 40, 50 health you want to sit at is this kind of deck.
Yeah.
Just be like so high health that there's no surprise that can just randomly kill you.
If he uses Hex here, that Deathwing is going to be so good. Because like after the second Hex, how do you deal with Deathwing as a Shaman? You just have to ignore it and put taunts.
Yeah, I don't know if this requires a Hex though. I think he just rolls totem, see if he gets spell power. And then you can potentially Stormcrack and trade the 1/1 in. But even now he can just Stormcrack.
Yeah, he can Stormcrack and what, like trade it 3/4 into it?
Yeah. No, yeah, Rockbiter, there's Stormcrack.
This is much better, for sure. Especially because he has a healing totem as well.
Yeah, and he doesn't care about the board. He's seen 2 brawls.
Oh man.
Just build up the board again. It doesn't matter.
So Vinz really has to find a way to be able to clear his board without using Deathwing. And he gets a pretty good draw, I think, but so he can kill the 3/2. And that's basically it.
So this already looks like, so already Vinz is choosing or believing that this match may well go to fatigue, which is why we see no shield block. He would have obviously played shield block first as you want to draw, see what you get, and then deal with it from there. But if he didn't play that turn, unless he's really holding on to the second shield slam, he's expecting shield slam, so he wants to be able to shield block shield slam to remove a big minion. He might be holding on to it just because he thinks it's going to go to fatigue, and then he'll rely on Deathwing to finish the game.
Oh man, do you play Deathwing here? Like, this is so dangerous. Like, you still have the shield block to be able to do things, and Ghoul actually clears 2 1/1s.
It's really tough.
He's going to go for it. Deathwing! Oh man, he clears the board, but there's the Hex. This Hex is going to block Alakir, so only Hex, not much more. Hero power.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter now because Deathwing's, the Warriors only drawing 1 card a turn, and I'll be interested to see, if we do see it, what other bombs Vince has in the deck. Because it's like, what else could he have waited for? Well, there's one.
That's a good card.
Yeah, that's a really good draw, actually.
Alakir is quite awkward now.
So Bunnyhoppor needs another source of damage, so he can lightning bolt.
Yeah, true. You're right.
So I guess, do you actually just hero power Tunnel Trog lightning bolt?
To be able to
deal with Sylvanas?
Well, you don't have to lightning bolt, I guess. You can lightning bolt next turn.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like Sylvanas, especially after getting Stoneclaw, like Stoneclaw is going to stop Sylvanas. The problem is like there's the frog in a way. It's like even if you go for the lightning bolt next turn, the frog is going to stop the Trog from finishing Sylvanas. So Sylvanas is doing something like a checkmate in a way. Or like at least a check, like, hey, I'm Sylvanas, what do you do with me?
Yeah, straight after the second X, that was like such a big draw. If that was any other card, then it just wouldn't be much of an issue for Bunnyhoppor. It's just like, yeah, okay, probably just drop down Alakir, kill whatever you've played, and then move on and carry on from there. But Sylvanas does stop Bunnyhoppor in his tracks a little bit. Yeah,
that's really hard. But on the other hand, Bunnyhoppor might have an opportunity to be able to just play Alakir with a couple of small minions on board at some point. Oh, is he going for it now? just to try to kill the frog and Sylvanas and hope that Sylvanas takes the totem? Or is it
Yeah,
just
no, but the idea is, like, with only one card draw from the warrior, the likelihood of him being able to kill the totem is quite low.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then trade the Sylvanas away. So yeah, he's actually just going for the damage now, but revenge is
It's
not enough because he's not low enough health to actually kill off the totems.
Revenge is good to a point that Sylvanas will actually kill Alakir and not die, but you don't have to go for it. You can definitely keep Revenge for later, especially because it's your another AoE card and you've already used Double Brawl and Deathwing.
Yeah.
Rogue Biter, so Alakir can do some serious damage here, but still.
I think this is the turn you have to... Do you have a Lightning Bolt trade here?
Basically,
I think you Lightning Bolt trade, hope Alakir lives, and use Alakir to kill whatever Sylvanas steals.
You kind of like want to kill Sylvanas on your own terms and not lose Alakir in the process.
Oh, that's going for the rock, but he's just going to go face? Sure. Why not 12 to face?
If you attack Sylvanas here, if she still steals Alakir.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, this is a big one, but you probably had to make the decision.
Oh,
she stole
Alakir.
Bunnyhoppor is like, why? Oh, man. Vinz. And he gets Azure as well.
Yeah,
so
which is huge.
He can board easily. Shield Slam even. So just like kill the totems of Alakir, like Shield Slam the 1-3. He doesn't even have to. Like he can keep a Shield Slam for later.
Yeah, he can just like attack face this turn.
I would kill the totem, like the 0-2, and probably just keep my removal. Like I would definitely also consider killing everything to just play around the second Flame Tongue totem. We've seen double Fire Elemental. What other things we haven't seen? Thunderbuff Valiant as well. I would not hate killing everything, like even using the Shield Slam on the Trog instead.
Yeah, there's Valiant though.
Yeah, Valiant is not bad. You can bolt the Alakir. I would definitely do it a different way. Like I would Shield Slam the Trog out, kill both totems of Alakir, keep Alakir on 4 health. But it wouldn't matter here that much because there was the spell damage totem.
Yeah, this is really nice kill as well because although Alakir can do 6, it's like, you know, to face if it wants or trade with multiple totems, it will just die. And it can't actually just kill the Thunder Bluff on its own. It'll go in once because it's on 3 health. It'll just die.
Yeah.
So really good, you know, choice of the use of the Lightning Bolt there. But as we can see, Vinz does have a Shield Slam to just clear up the Thunder Bluff. But then you start to think, okay, how to deal with the second one?
Yeah.
If there's one, there's 2, right?
Exactly.
So
Well, at least there are no totems on board for now, so he can play his 2-3, and 2-3 will be contesting the totems that are being created. So now we start the race. Who gets a better card? And I believe Vinz still has a couple of big cards in his deck. I'm not sure. Draconite Crusher should be there. Maybe Ragnaros. Like I'm not sure what.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I guess the deck plays Grom, right? Does it? I don't know the list well enough to be honest. Oh, there we go.
You actually had a good guess. Yeah. Grom was there. But like it makes sense because it's a Contra Warrior, so you want to have a finisher like that.
Yeah, and Grom's just always good, right? Like,
and the Warrior with revenge and stuff, obviously.
That was interesting. I wonder whether there was ever a reason to revenge, kill the one wolf, and then play Grom to kill the other one.
Yeah.
So there's no minion on the board. Oh, there'll be the totem, but you know, there's no like attacking minion on the board.
I think not yet.
Probably just not too fast.
Exactly. It's still a good situation for Vinz. Like he can maybe revenge now this turn. Depends like where the wolf goes. But yeah, revenge will like help him to kill the 1/1 and the Trog as well is 2-3. So it's actually a good deal for him. He got to attack Gromash into the 2-3. So with this Feral Spirit, do you want to attack the 2-3 to play around like Whirlwind effects?
Are you more that afraid of a Whirlwind effect? I think that's the issue, right?
If not, you just go face, I guess. Just want to put damage. Like, you know, Grom is going to attack into it, or like a 2-3 is going to attack into it, so your opponent is definitely going to attack into the wolf.
Yeah, maybe the trade into 2-3 is okay. There's not, other than a Whirlwind effect, there's not too many sources of damage, and if there's a Whirlwind effect, then the minions sort of become moot at that point. And then the Trog either lives, or the Grom trades into the 1-3 or 1-2 Trog after the Whirlwind, which, yeah, sure. Put 10 damage into a 1-2 minion.
You probably want Grom to trade into the 2-3 wolf. Oh, second revenge. So,
the problem is these revenges are actually just damaging Grom as well, so making it just like that bit easier for him to actually, you know, like maybe a second Stormcrack now just kills off Grom.
Yeah, but it's still a good situation for Vinz. Like having the board, being able to just shut down the Shaman. Shaman going from the top. Normally there is no draw for Shaman aside from a Mana Tide Totem. So a Mana Tide Totem only would draw on one card because you play it, it draws one card, and then it's going to die next turn. So as I said, it seemed like the long game is favoring Warrior.
Yeah, I think what Bunnyhoppor needs, if he could just select cards, is like a second Stormcrack if he runs one, and then into Thunderbluff, because then suddenly the Warrior doesn't really have many answers left to actually even kill Thunderbluff, and then even though you only start with one totem on that turn, then you can start stacking them and it becomes very difficult. Tuskar, yeah, you know, it goes a bit wider on the board, so that might help.
Yeah, definitely. Something like Mana Tide or Totem Golem would be cool, but Stonecoil doesn't do that much. And Bunnyhoppor goes for face because, well, he doesn't have really many targets left. Oh, that's the last card. Execute. So that's it for Vinz. How many cards left for Bunnyhoppor? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm just weighing up, do you execute the 3-2?
well, you can execute the 1-2, and you can actually kill the 0-2 with the 10-3, and then kill the 2-2. Well, kill the 3-2 with the 2-2.
Yeah.
If you,
I was just thinking, so if you Whirlwind, execute the 3-2, use the 2-2 to kill the totem, and then just go face with Grom. Because the 2 minions left.
Yeah, that's not bad. You can
there could be overload that makes the trade happen, which, you know,
you can also kill the Trog then, actually. Just like
yeah, just kill the Trog with Grom instead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just because he's only on what 37, so and fatigue started now, right? So like he's taking damage every turn if the opponent isn't, and that'll stack up very quickly. So I just think he needs to hit face with Grom, and just to hit face for 3 turns, you win.
Yeah,
and
true.
That's it.
But then you don't want to lose the Grom.
Yeah. So this trade's fine for Overload because like
Definitely.
Overload just loses you the game because then a 2-1 can't contest.
Azure Drake, well, it can draw the Thunderblock Valiant.
Any removal for Grom though.
No,
that's his last card.
Yeah,
He only
Valiant
played one
was,
Stormcraft.
Valiant was the last card. So overall, it seems like
Oh, this is I think Bunnyhoppor just wins, right?
I think so because he will have a minion, and like Vinz will not have a minion. Like you can trade your Grom unless you go phase actually with Grom. Does it help? Like you just
No, because Grom just dies the next turn.
Yeah, but you've dealt some damage, so Shaman is at 20, and Shaman
but
cannot heal.
Thunderbluff over like 3 turns stacks the totems up to like a stupid amount of damage, right? That you can't kill.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Because he
It was
just double
stack on the
trades.
totems,
Yeah.
If that would be just a single minion, but yeah, it will actually.
It just every
But
single
for the-
turn it gets ridiculous.
Yeah, with the totems.
A swift nod there from Vinz as he's just like
He knows.
second Thunderbluff. It was bound to be in the deck, and that was the last card, and now there's nothing Vinz can do. And
You can't deal with it.
I don't know whether I want to even bother attempting the quick fatigue math, but I'm pretty sure the rate in which Thunderbluff buffs the totems every turn is gonna catch up the armor.
Yeah,
right?
just in 4 turns, one of the totems is going to attack for 8.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
Bunnyhoppor has 4 turns with fatigue.
the situation, oh man. Well, you do trade with the totem, and you have 46 life. Your opponent takes 1 next turn.
Yeah. Vinz is actually just sat there working out all the fatigue turns versus the damage he's going to take. And maybe the likelihood of a 1-1 coming out for the extra 1 point of damage just completely changes everything. Because that could be the difference between a kill a turn earlier or not. So
I think you kill this totem because you, instead of dealing 2 damage to face, you deny 4 damage to your face.
yeah.
But this is basically it, so.
So believe it or not, the play this turn for Bunnyhoppor is going to be hero power attack. And it's probably going to be the play for the next few turns until one of them dies.
Yeah, also Vinz is taking a lot of damage for fatigue. Like next turn, he's taking 4. He's taking 7 from
But Bunnyhoppor is on 3, so and he's on a very low health. So
okay, so how many turns for Bunnyhoppor? He's going to take 4, 5, and 6. So 3 more turns, right?
yeah.
3, 4, 6. So he has 2 more turns to execute. So maybe actually Vinz can still make it. He has the hero power. He is healing himself.
I think.
And
Vinz
Bunnyhoppor
might
is
actually have
not
this.
healing himself. So Bunnyhoppor has 1 more turn. Like he needs to kill Vinz next turn. And if he doesn't, he's just dead.
Oh no! So this is going to be 5. This is going to be 6. Yeah, he does it. Yeah, Bunnyhoppor has it.
Yeah, those totems.
Because
man.
again, it's just the totems just stack up so quickly, and because of that on top of the big fatigue turn, Bunnyhoppor does survive and does more than enough damage, as he said. There's one totem hitting for 8, the other one for 7. That's should be enough to finish up this game, and that
And fatigue damage as well.
That was a
hitting
long one.
Vinz. Yeah,
that was a long one.
that was really till the last moment, and that was a really exciting match. We've seen this Dragon control warrior, but unfortunately lost. I would like to see more of this deck.
Yeah, I think as I said at the beginning, that's like how the matchup used to go a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Vince didn't actually draw any minions early on. Right? He had almost nothing. He had one Alex Rider's champion that couldn't do anything.
That Totem Golem, man, like it just won the game. Like
exactly.
Just attacking face a couple of times at the beginning.
The lack of War Axe, the lack of early shield block, shield slam. He just had turns where it was like, guess I just hero power. And as we saw, both brawls were on boards of totems. So there was just, not too much investment from Bunnyhoppor. Didn't lose too much from the big AoE, like the brawls from Vinz, and that's how he just about edged it, with Thunderbluff being the last card in the deck.
It's a good card to have against warrior that has nothing.
It's like the perfect card to win the long game.
Yeah, suddenly burst damage. Like I'm just buffing my totems and I win there. So Bunnyhoppor is just keeping his Shaman. This is last hero standing format. If you win with the deck, you keep it. You are not punished like in Conquest. And Vince is bringing his N'Zoth Rogue. What?
This is a cool deck. Have you played much of this, Nimsh?
I did play this deck. It's pretty fun. Like it's actually there's so many cool things. Like if you play Zariel and with Journey, like you can have Anuborax on board. Yeah. Like a lot of Anuborax. You can have like you get coin from Pillager, and then you have from Zariel you get like a small Shadow Step. So you basically play N'Zoth, you coin the Fade Leaf. Well, how is it called? It's not Fade Leaf, right? Fade Leaf is stealth. Like how's the Shadow Step? Wow,
don't quiz me on
toxins.
This kind
you
of
don't
stuff.
know toxins, all right? So
I'm not the biggest rogue player in the world. I have played this deck a good chunk though, and what I will say about it is it feels like every time you play it, the game is very different.
Yeah,
just because of all the effects from like Journey Below, Hucksters. There's so many like different styles and effects. It takes quite a lot of skill to play a lot of the time because you have to deal with the outcomes that you get from these sort of slightly sort of random generation cards.
It's really fun.
Yeah. So you have to really just work with what you've got, and it's definitely challenging, but it's a lot of fun. So and I expect the deck to have maybe some even more funky stuff in because it's a French guy playing it, and that's what they do.
Definitely, and it's great to see this deck so far in the tournament because Vince is at the moment 5-1, so he was able to use this rogue and possibly win games with it. The problem is he's facing Shaman, and or like in the current metagame, regardless of the build, I think Shaman is mostly favored versus rogue. Because you don't have Blade Flurry anymore. You have Fan of Knives, which is great, especially with the spell damage. But it's troublesome, and Shaman has so much pressure. This deck is still doesn't have the taunts. It has double Farseer, most likely, but it might not be enough.
Yeah, and especially with Totem Golem into Totem Golem as the follow-up. I'll get round Overload by playing another 3-4 for 2, and this is why we see Vinz go for the early Van Cleef just to get something on the board that can do enough damage to a Totem Golem.
Yeah, well, Van Cleef is not bad, definitely. It's something to stall the game a bit. Next turn, he has the Shadow Strike to be able to deal with one of the minions. And from Bunnyhoppor, he can't really deal with this Edwin cleanly, but faces the place. Even though you're a mid-range Shaman, there's not much heal, not much taunt. Just go there, deal damage, and eventually you will be able to win. Like, you still have bolts. You still have Rock Biters, you have Alakir, so you have some burst damage on your side.
Looking for Vince here, he does have a Shadow Strike if he wants to just deal with one of these minions. There we go, he's just going to clear off one Totem Golem, and because the Van Cleef's still alive, even on 1 health, it does challenge the second Golem that's left on the board.
Yeah,
but
it's actually so hilarious because...
we could see a Lightning Storm. Oh, no.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it does challenge. It's 3-4, as you said. So this Edwin was able to kill, like, both good minions.
What this does, though, is this opens up the following turns for Bunnyhoppor to play Azure Drake into Fire Elemental and just continue to curve quite well versus the Rogue. But the Tomb Pillager is not a terrible draw here. It looks like Vince may be favoring the Hero Power and the Huckster. Yeah. But I just feel like Tomb Pillager always feels good to just get down early. And there's nothing that really challenges Tomb Pillager at the moment. I like this. Yeah, you just want the coin. Yeah, especially with Gadget Zan in hand.
Flametongue Totem would probably challenge the Pillager, but then you actually would be happy that the minions are trading with your minion instead of going for face. Because from Bunnyhoppor's perspective, it's easy. Just go face. There's nothing to stop him. And Vince will be fighting back to try to stop the onslaught. But those minions don't have taunt.
Yeah, it's really difficult to deal with as we see the second Shadow Strike come out now. Clearly Azure Drake. And the Huckster looks like it's going to be favored over the Thanos. Once the 2-2 body as opposed to 1-1 that gets dealt with by the Argent Squire.
Now
But yeah, just look at this. Just a
Really
double
clean.
Fire Elemental into Alakir here.
Really clean Fire Elemental, and the Fire Elemental is a very dangerous minion. It's really hard to deal with it. Something like a Thalnos Execute would be great. Not Execute, like Eviscerate Thalnos, but there is no Eviscerate for now.
Prep is huge here. You could play Gadget Zan, Coin, and then into Prep. Never the other way round, as that doesn't often work out too well. But I think that's pretty much just what Vinz needs, right? If there's a way he's going to sort of deal with this board and come back into the game, I think he just needs the Gadget Zan turn and need it to go very well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about a possible Fan of Knives Thalnos to try to kill the 6-5, but this is not enough damage, so you'll have to get something from Huckster. So maybe you can actually attack with Huckster first, but then like if you go for Gadgetzan and Coin, you have a chance to get a backstab. So then also the situation changes. So it's really hard right now with...
Or even a Sap. Because at this point, even sapping the Fire Elemental is okay. Because, yeah, you take 3 more damage, but they have to invest 6 more mana the next turn
they have
to get the minion on the body. And
oh!
Lo and behold,
There is the sap.
you know, you can just call these cards. I didn't know you could do this. This is where I've been going wrong.
Well, we're going through so many possibilities, right? Like at some point we are going to hit the cards that still... Yeah, Sap was probably the best here. Like if you would get maybe a Visceral was a bit better because then you can kill it with Huckster as well.
Yeah, but this means you can peel the shield off now. So even if there's like a Rock Biter to kill the Gadget Zan, the minion does die. And yeah, so the Elemental can be replayed. He knows that for a fact. So the Gadget Zan is probably just going to die and the Elemental get dropped back down again. It seems like the most straightforward play. But the 2-1 still lives, so the Huckster's still alive. And you know, it did buy him some wiggle room at least. And he wasn't just taking 6 to face this turn, which would have put him to 10. Which is a pretty risky number when Alakir is knocking around in hand.
So with this, can he actually... No, he's like missing 1 mana.
No, he can just fan SI, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so fan
this
SI
is just safe. You just cycle, get SI on the board.
Yeah, that's the best.
And just
definitely.
move on and just continue to just hope that you can turn this game around from that pretty rocky opening.
Well,
the
actually,
second sap's really nice, actually.
Actually, this situation is not that bad for Vinz because many times Shaman just goes for your face and you die. And if we see the Alakir, if there's a Rock Biter, this will be really difficult to handle. But overall, he was able to stabilize more or less at 16 health. So if the game goes longer, maybe there will be a possibility for like this off to come, like to just resurrect everything.
I think this is really good for Bunnyhoppor though. The Flame Tongue draw probably means that Bunnyhoppor's going to wait till turn 10 to play Alakir and play with Flame Tongue, hit for 10. And there's not a lot Ro can do about that most of the time. The second sap from Vinz does help him as he can choose to just delay the Fire Elemental again. As you know, the 3 damage went onto the SI, so he's still at 16, and just delay with the sap, as well as generating a board himself.
So play Healbot probably because like it's the biggest minion that you can play on the turn.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I mean,
it's not like the best because you use.
I'm trying
like
to
7
think whether
mana.
you want to Azure Drake, but I'm working out what you want to cycle into.
Well,
like
the problem
maybe
is
a Vex.
you play Azure Drake and he attacks with the totem into Azure Drake and plays the Flame Tongue, like the Fire Elemental again, and uses the Azure Drake.
That's true. It just dies. Yeah, I was gonna say it dies to the replayed Fire Elemental, but also he knows Bunnyhoppor plays Stormcrag, which is another good reason to choose the heal bot. Since at this point with your opponent on 30, you're not too worried about healing them for 8.
Man, this game is almost over. Like he can just play double.
You can just do whatever he wants at this point. Actually, I just don't think it matters
I like
anymore.
to see the Flame Tongues because this prepares the board for Alakir for the next turn.
I think you just play one because you don't want them both to be cleared. And then have
true.
Alakir.
And just deal enough damage to be able to like finish the game next turn.
I mean, actually, if he just plays 2 and goes face,
is
that just enough damage
yeah,
anyway?
it's still awesome. It's still awesome. Even with like Farseer, it's really hard. And then Vinz will have to clear both the Flame Tongues to be able to deal with them. But that's fine as well.
Yeah, I think I like holding one. Just in case, and for the burst, like the surprise damage.
Well, this is kind of ideal because even if there is a Farseer and the board is being cleared, you still have lethal with Alakir with Flame Tongue.
Well, your opponent can't realistically play 2 Farseers and deal with the board this turn. Like there is not enough mana to be able to do all of that. Exactly. Yeah.
It's a tough spot, really tough spot for Vinz. And this was a really bad matchup to start with, even though he was trying to fight back from the opening. But you just need to have like a backstab SA7 in the very opening, and then a big Edwin, and then a Pillager, and just like start building up from there. Not allow the Shaman to ever have the board. But Bunnyhoppor had an opportunity. Like, he had a really good opening himself.
Yeah, I mean, we've sort of seen a similar story to last game. Vinz didn't quite have what he needed. Normally, like, calling Van Cleef as a 4-4 gets work done, and it did, to be fair. It did kill off the two golems eventually. But it was just Bunnyhoppor just kept the pressure up because his curve was so good.
So Vinz doesn't know that he's dead yet. He's seen Alakir. He knows it's in the deck, but he hopes that it's not in the hand. So he subs the Fire Elemental for the second time. Fire Elemental is like, hey boys,
I just want to hit face.
Bye boys.
Yeah, and this is just going to be the end. There's already Vinz is on 6, and Alakir is pretty good at doing 6 damage.
Yeah, and Vince knows this is a bad spot. Like, just whatever. There's so much stuff the Shaman can do to just finish the game. And Alakir comes, like sweating insects, goes for face, and wins a second game for Bunnyhoppor. Yeah,
I think we just saw there a display of curving extremely well, and just Vinz not having enough to deal with him, because I think the N'Zoth Rogue works better against more like control-y decks, and the mid-range Shaman is a bit more of a control style deck. It does run the Hex, not that Bunnyhoppor ever needed it in that game, but yeah, I think it just struggled with the sheer power of Bunnyhoppor's curve this game, and the amount of pressure he can put out so early.
So the last deck for Vince is his own Shaman. I don't know what Shaman it is if it's aggro Shaman or mid-range Shaman, but looking at
control. You never know.
He said he's not playing Conceit Shaman.
Okay.
And
was he just trolling though, and he just is? It's like, I'll just tell you I'm not playing it and surprise you.
He doesn't like the deck.
Yog
but maybe,
Shaman.
Maybe he was trolling. Maybe he was like trying to mislead me to say, hey, he's not playing Conceit Shaman, and then suddenly.
Yeah. Okay, that.
No, Flame Juggler is not the Conceit Shaman card.
So Abusive Sergeant, definitely not.
This is an aggro version, it seems. I don't know which exactly, if he's playing Assassin Knowledge or not. Things from below or not Think from below.
Yeah, Think from below is like feels super standard though a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Just because the card's just too good. If you get even just the reduction from playing the Tuskar Totemic, is often enough to make the card good enough to warrant play.
I actually personally favor the version with Knowledge, with no Totemic, with no Think from below. Like, you still play like 7/7s, but then
you don't want to play Tuskar Totemic in a Shaman deck now?
I just want to have draw and have that extra burst,
I just want that extra Totem Golem.
Yeah, but sometimes you just get a healing totem and then.
Not if you're good. You
sad.
always high roll the Totem Golem. It's fine.
Yeah, the best part about Shaman is like you have so many builds actually,
Yeah.
and you can fit them to your own playstyle.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one seems well. We don't know exactly what he's playing in this deck, but this is definitely an aggressive version.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Bunnyhoppor is very wary of the more control variant. Control Shaman's better, probably. But because he did mention to me earlier, like, I just don't know what this guy's going to play because of the scene he resides in and the crazy stuff that comes out of the French scene. So
definitely, especially because we've seen Tars on stage, and Tars from the same team, so Bunnyhoppor can expect the Conceit Shaman here.
Yeah.
Big taunts. But it all depends on opening, and with Abusive Sergeant, Bunnyhoppor will be like, yep, now I know.
Yep. That's all the information I needed. And when your opponent plays Abusive Sergeant and you play Totem Golem, as a response, you're feeling pretty good, unless there's another Abusive Sergeant in hand.
Definitely.
And he draws the Tunnel Trog as well, so you can just go Tunnel Trog Abusive, clear the Golem, his opponent's overloaded for 1, and you set up a Tunnel Trog that pretty much demands an answer. But we can also see that Bunnyhoppor does have the answer in the form of Rock Biter.
Yeah, he does.
If he wants to clear off the, prioritize the Tunnel Trog death that highly, which he probably should.
This matchup, I believe, is in the beginning a lot about trading. Like, as an aggro Shaman, you want to trade into the mid-range Shaman board, and then always have like kind of like a zoo versus zoo in a way that you want to deal with all the minions, and with the remaining minions deal damage to face. And at some point you have to just switch the gears when you get like Rock Biters and Doom Hammers, and maybe just finish your opponent off, because in the long run there are storms. Storms are really good against your board.
Yeah, I think that's the key difference between like the aggro mirror and then the mid-range versus aggro, is that I think in the aggro versus mid-range, you normally go even more aggressive with your minions early, because you need to do the damage, because they will just storm you and then you lose the board fight. You don't have storm most of the time unless you teched it in. But like you just lose the board guaranteed, and then you just have to hope you've done enough damage already to kill them with, like, you know, Rock Biters, Lava Burst, just spells in general, Doomhammer, of course, and that's the way to end the game. So I think you would see a more aggressive playstyle overall from the aggro list, which sounds like a very weird sentence to actually say.
And by the way, there is this totem golem you really liked from Tusker Totemic. So Bunnyhoppor
I told you, it's good
years
card
in a row.
names. Ask people.
So what
I
do you
heard
think?
Tusker Totemic was good.
It's definitely a good card. But it's a difficult turn now because of that totem golem. If that would be any other totem, that was a beautiful turn. You just play Flame Tongue, you kill the 3-2 with the 2-1. You kill the totem, whatever that is, and you go face with the second wolf. But here, it's not that obvious.
I just think you might want to actually just go Flame Tongue face. Put the 2-1 into the 3-2, because it's just an easy trade. You 1-drop into the sort of like 70% of the 3-drop, I guess.
I think I like killing the totem golem with the 2-1. Like, I'm only thinking about Overload as well, because like another play you can do is...
Oh, he's going to trade, okay.
Yeah, he's going to trade because he doesn't want to, like, he can lose the Flame Tongue with like a Storm or
Yeah, he's
Storm
just scared
or
of
whatever.
Storm, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and then like Totem Golem gets the Valley trade. But like, there was also another play, I think, you play Flame Tongue and you kill the 3-4 with the small dude, and then you coin this, the Bolt to kill the 3-2. The problem with that play is that you overload yourself, so next turn you only have 4 mana, and you don't really have a play because Think from Below will be for 5. So, but definitely something to consider as well, because then like you protect both wolves, and you have both wolves on board. The problem is also that the Flame Tongue is then on the other side of the wolves.
Yeah.
So with this, he will be able to play Doomhammer and start dealing damage from next turn.
Yeah. This is a interesting turn from Bunnyhoppor. He could just play wolves into Flame Tongue. So it sort of mirror the turn.
I like the Valiant, because Valiant contests the wolf without dying.
Yeah.
So like again, like you do something that your opponent will have.
And you're not
to
overloaded,
trade.
right? So it opens up you following turns as well.
Exactly.
In a similar fashion to what you were just saying.
Yeah, like Astro Drake, you would just lose it. Wolves, you would just lose 1 wolf for free and just have like a 2-3 that does nothing, and then you also overload yourself for nothing. But the Valiant, I think, here is definitely okay. So from Vince's perspective, you can kill it with Trade and Doomhammer, but you don't have to. You might...
Yeah, it's really difficult, isn't it?
You can coin the 5-5. With like, you can go for like Trog, coin 5-5, go face for 4 damage. Because like the first totem doesn't really do much. Like he totems up, it's just that 2 totem. That's it.
Yeah. So look at whether you actually coin Lightning Bolt and just save the health on the Feral Spirit. So you leave the Feral up, coin Lightning Bolt onto the 3-2. There we go. Sure. So this just leaves the board at least half intact still. And yeah, you took some damage, but you don't really care because you've left a Taunt out. So you know that's got to be hit through first. Guards the Flame Tongue as well. I like this play overall. Fire Elemental's pretty nice response though.
It's great. It's great. Just deal with the wolf. Do not take any more damage. Like anything else was actually not great. Like going for the Feral Spirit and Flame Tongue Totem was a possibility, but there were ways to go around that. And suddenly, not much to do. For
Yeah,
Vince.
the damage doesn't line up very well. I think we're going to see a hero power, just to hope for a taunt, Stoneclaw Totem, just to slow this down, because even like Flame Tongue still means you have to double trade with the Doomhammer into the Fire Elemental, and something you definitely don't want to do. He could just go aggressive, yeah, and just go face, and then just hold this. He did get the Stoneclaw, which is actually pretty huge.
But I think that's the problem with the play he had last turn, basically just leaving nothing to do for himself.
Yeah.
Because like if he would go for Trog and just ignore the 3-6, it was dangerous in a way, because there could have been like a Lightning Storm to deal with his part of the board. But then if there is no Lightning Storm, he positions himself a bit better to be able to like buff the Trog, deal even more damage.
I think it's just managing the risk of this late into the game. You just you know your opponent's running 2. Like just the expectation of like, okay, he must have 1, so we can't give him a big blowout turn with a Thunderbluff on the board, because then it's just going to get out of control. You'll never get the board back again. That's probably going to be game from there.
Totem Golem is probably nice because you will be able to like play 3 totems and Think from Below for 1 mana. But it doesn't help you really to go through the wolves. So you might...
I think you just play everything. Like, is there anything else you can really do at this point?
Well, I'm just thinking, like, how do you attack? Do you just, like, kill both wolves with
Yeah,
like,
you
the
just
truck?
you just take the damage, put the 2 minions either side of the flame tongue, and just deal with it. There's not much else you can do, right? That's literally spending all of his mana
I
on a
guess.
turn, and he can't exactly hold back with a Fire Elemental on the board, saying, I'm going to continue to play around Lightning Storm by only playing 1 minion a turn, because then you're just going to get stomped by the Fire Elemental, and then anything else your opponent does the following turn.
All right, that's a good board to have. He can kill the totem with Flame Tongue, and then he will be contesting the Fire Elemental with the thing from below. I guess it's okay, and you know your opponent is overloaded as well, so your opponent will be at 6 mana.
Yeah, if you're just relying on the thing, just soaking up the damage from the Fire Elemental, and then building from there. So that is a big board, but the second Bunnyhoppor draws the Lightning Storm, this game should just be over. Hex, you know what? That's pretty reasonable as well.
Yeah, Hex is quite good. So if you Hex, you can Hex the... well, actually...
You hex one of the tomes, right?
well, whatever you can actually, like, if you Hex the thing from below, you still lose the Fire Elemental, so it doesn't make any sense, right? It's like you still lose your Fire Elemental to the thing from below after you kill it.
Yeah. So you potentially just hex one of the totems to just remove the totem.
Yeah.
Because
like,
your
it's
opponent's
like,
got no cards, right?
it's
So
going to be 4
and the
damage.
Flame Tongue's giving a lot of value to the
makes
board.
sense.
So and as you said, like the Fire Elemental's dead. There's just like the hex doesn't change that. So you just hex probably the bigger totem.
But you are still taking how much damage? This is 5 plus 2 is 7, 11 damage. So you're, yeah, I guess like you're really close to dying anyway.
Yeah. Well, if you hex the totem on the right, you're taking 9, aren't you? Because the totem won't buff the Flame Tongue on the left, and it won't buff the healing totem.
Yeah, but the frog is being buffed.
Oh, yeah, of course it's going to be the Hex Frog. Yeah. Look, Nimsh, we've been casting all day.
I know, right?
It's late. I decided to choose that Hex is just a complete removal card and it just disappears the minion off the board. It's going to go for the Totem Golem, though, and leave the Flame Tongues
Yeah,
up.
that's not a lava burst. And right now, this is an interesting decision for Vinz. I mean, like 7/7 is great. It's a big minion. You've just seen Hex, and you have a possibility to just remove this board as well. And if there is Lightning Storm, it's troublesome. But obviously, there is no Lightning Storm yet.
Yeah.
Shaman was able, like Bunnyhoppor was able to draw 2 cards because from Mana Totem there is a new card you haven't seen before, and then at the start of the turn there will be another card you haven't seen before. So there are actually 2 cards that can be Lightning Storm that you haven't seen before, but I still like the decision to trade into this board and develop a 7/7.
Yeah. And the good thing is as well, if there's a Lightning Storm, well, you know what Lightning Storm probably doesn't kill? The 7/7. So
Yeah.
you're feeling pretty safe. And I like putting it on the end as well because you're still gaining all the damage from the totems that
Exactly.
would normally attack. And the 7/7 again still hits for 7, so you're feeling pretty confident. Still got 2 charges of the Doomhammer as well.
Yeah, he kept
So-
it deliberately actually
Yeah.
to have the Rockbiter.
Exactly.
So Alakir is a taunt, but it doesn't do much. It might be still the best play though. Like you can kill the frog, you can kill one of the totems, which means that the other 2 totems will actually kill Alakir, and then you're being attacked for 9 plus 4, which is 13. So in theory, I believe you're still alive. Well, it's kind of tough. So you can actually, if you feel this is really bad, you go for Azric into Lightning Storm.
Yeah. Oh, and
Miss.
this is Bunnyhoppor must be very disappointed with that game because the sheer odds of just not drawing any Lightning Storms. Didn't draw the Stormcrack either. You know, like there was so many like points in that match where Lightning Storm just wins him the game, like
Yeah.
almost certainly. So a little bit upset there, but he is still 2-1 up. Vinz has his Shaman still, and Bunnyhoppor has the option of his Warlock or his Druid. And you know, we've seen a lot of players lean on Warlock when they come up versus this kind of Shaman. As we go straight into the next game, no surprise, Warlock locked in for Bunnyhoppor, and he has this and his Druid to go against his Shaman to just get the 1 win he needs to take the set.
Yeah, definitely. And so it's a great tech to actually play versus Shaman. Like we talked about it a bit, and a lot of people say this is actually closer to 50-50 than people think. I personally think this is really good for Zoo, which will be definitely between 55 and 60% as Zoo favored.
Yeah, I think like I think it's probably less than 60, but what I do think is that Zoo's one of the best decks to play against Aggro Shaman, and it just gives you the best chance. So that's why we see everyone bring it and everyone use it to answer this deck, because it's definitely one of the best. Aggro Shaman has a lot of great matchups for that list, and very few bad ones, and this is probably as good as it's going to get a lot of the time.
To expand on that philosophy of a bad matchup, like basically Zoo just needs to draw standard opening, like you need Pulse Village, like you need any one drop, and then you need any buff, like you get Darwolf Alpha is good, you get Abusive is good, like whatever to be able to trade into Shaman minions early. So you normally don't have trouble dealing with Chalk, you don't have trouble dealing with Totem Golem, and Shaman is being overloaded. If you go like head-to-head against Shaman, at some point Shaman just runs out of cards.
Yeah, and the ability for Zoo to trade up is really powerful when the Shaman minions themselves are more powerful than they should be because of overload. But and the whole point is they're overload minions, so they're more powerful. But Zoo can keep up with that because of cards like Power Overwhelm and Abusive Sergeant, as you mentioned. So you can actually just deal with them and then stay ahead, as you said. So and then life tap as well, just to keep the cards coming.
And there's also no Lightning Storm to like come back as the Shaman card.
Yeah, and the double Flame Imp is as good as it's going to get for you, really.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has Abusive means that even if Totem Golem comes down, he just uses the Abusive to trade instead of having to use like both Flame Imps, because then that suddenly is a bit of a disaster.
So the best way to win in this matchup when I'm playing my aggro version of the Zoo is like I start with Finley, which is a great card to trade into the 1/1s. I get Life Tap or like Fire Blast. Life Tap is better because then I can actually draw and be on par with the Zoo drawing his own cards. With Fire Blast, I'm able to trade a bit. And I'm trying to have like a turn 2 coin Argent Horse Rider to trade into like a Dark Peddler and just keep up board. And then like Feral Spirit into it, I get overloaded, sure. But like I just have some kind on the board to trade. But normally it's really hard to get those cards.
I was just going to say that the double Argus is actually really good in this matchup, but you know, Bunnyhoppor needs something to play this turn to keep up the momentum, and you know, Councilman is perfect. You play Councilman into Argus, and then like, what does the Shaman do?
And like, Gank Boss would be great as well.
Yeah, just any 3-drop, even like a Peddler into
Peddler
1-drop,
great.
you know. Like, as long as he didn't draw, like, Doom Guard or something where it's like, wow, my turn is literally tap pass.
But you know what? Like, even if you'd get like nothing, he can actually tap and play like a 1-drop maybe. So like,
yeah, it's just because that relies on you then tapping into a 1-drop, which is quite likely, but still you would rather just draw something straight off.
Oh, definitely. Just
and a 3-drop is just perfect. It's going to draw a Lava Burst from Vinz here, and now we're just going to see Argus into Argus, and then suddenly the board looks very, very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, the problem for Zoo is like Argus is one of the key cards to actually win versus Shaman. So from Shaman's perspective, instead of just going for face, which you would love, because if you have this extra pressure in the beginning, you can then finish the game with Lava Burst. Like, you actually have to Lava Burst the minions. Like, you have to bolt the minions. You have to Rock Biter the minions. And then you just don't have enough.
And then what do you actually do to kill your opponent?
Exactly, right?
You definitely run out of juice, and this second Argus is going to make it really good. But the roll on the Totem Golem for Vinz is as good as it's going to get. Has another minion that can help trade down the board. But even like, look at this Voidwalker. How annoying is that?
Yeah.
2/4 when your minions attack for 3. So the Voidwalker can easily kill off the 3/2.
And then 3/2 can attack into the 3/4. You can coil. And you can even Argus again, but I would not hate it.
You might actually just Argus the Voidwalker and the 2/3, and then trade the Voidwalker into Totem Golem and Mortal Coil.
Yeah.
To kill it off, and then just trade, you know, trade the Abusive Sergeant into 3/2 to kill it.
I love it.
Because then you replicate the board you had before. You coil, so you cycling as well, which doesn't cost you health.
You don't lose anything.
Yeah, exactly. This is really nice.
You have
just
3 amazing taunts. And you know there is no storm. Like, you really do not expect a storm from this Shaman.
Oh, he's actually choosing to make that play, though. So
I guess he is expecting a storm then.
I guess like he didn't see tons of the deck.
Yeah.
And there are players who have come to this event and tech to the storm. So you know what? If you can play around it and still be in control, why not, right?
Yeah, it makes sense because like from our perspective, caster vision, we've seen enough of the deck to like assume there is no storm. But sometimes people do tech 1 storm in aggro Shaman. Bunnyhoppor will not take his chances. Like, this is a great matchup for him. He's in a good position. And he is in a controlled matchup. And
again, we see the power of Zoo's ability to just trade up as power overwhelming onto one of these 3 attack minions just kills that 7/7.
Really
like,
easy.
Straight up, just no problem. And he can actually just then wolf. We'll play both wolves, but double wolf to kill off the Totem Golem as well if he wants to, you know, completely clear the board and carry on.
A lot of damage, by the way.
Yeah, actually, is this just lethal?
This is this is 8.
Yeah, it's exact lethal.
Yeah, look at that.
I was actually just so focused on the ability to easily clear the minions, which is, you know, what we would talk about as the way the Zoo works. that I just decided to just not count the fact that double Dire Wolf into Power Overwhelming is actually just the way to finish the game. So Bunnyhoppor is going to take that match 3-1 over Vinz. Definitely a rough one for Vinz overall, as Bunnyhoppor managed to do so well with his Shaman in the first few games, and then just be able to just sort of counter pick into Vinz's last deck.
And I think I'm back, actually. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that was a very smooth move across the chairs.
All right, I was just changing the chairs just in case. But yeah, the guys are still talking to each other and discussing the matchup because, well, Vince is not out of the tournament. This is his second loss, but he lost, I think, in the 4th round. So he's like 3-0 and then lost. For Bunnyhoppor, it's much more important because he lost in the first game. So this means the tiebreaker is a bit worse. Because if you lose the first game, then you play versus a guy who was 0-1 as well. And then you play versus a guy who is, well, 1-1 probably. So you have like worse opponents tiebreaker-wise. So if you end up with the 7-2 at the end of the day in the Swiss format, you might have trouble getting to the top 16. You might be one of those unlucky guys that will actually not make it with 7 to score. Vince will have to continue fighting. Bunnyhoppor will also have to continue fighting, but he is definitely closer. And Bunnyhoppor is joining us right now. So congratulations on the win. That was a pretty good match.
Thanks.
Especially, like, what did you feel about the first game versus this warrior? Did you like recognize it after bash and then like seeing a dragon, or was it like still like a confusing deck for you?
No, like after I saw the 2 bashes in the first dragon, I knew it was Maverick's deck, or whatever he played at the French tournament. So I knew it didn't have like that much value in it. So as long as I hex Deathwing, and then I somehow deal with Grom, like, I'm completely fine. I can actually outvalue him. But, yeah, I didn't plan on Alakir just getting... I think it was actually wrong to even play Alakir there. I was debating for a long time if I could just, like, you know, just play, kind of feed the Trog into it.
Yeah.
So Sylvana hits it, and I just Lightning Bolt it. Because afterwards, he doesn't have value in the deck, but I still have, like, tons of value, so I should win. So I think actually playing Alakir, even though it's a 1 out of 4, it's still completely wrong.
Yeah, it was like risk, not unnecessary risk.
We talked about, because of the amount of removal that was already used, you just Lightning Bolt Sylvanas and leave the Trog up. And like the odds on the Trog going into Sylvanas are quite high because there's just not that much removal left. And then you play Alakir and go for it. But it was pretty unlucky to lose the steal there out of what was 1 in 4 with the 3
Yeah,
totems
it was like
there.
1 in 4.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose this,
It's reasonable odds.
Yeah,
especially because if he steals the totem, you pretty much just win the game. A lot of the time
I think
at that
if
point.
he steals anything except for Alakir,
Yeah,
they,
exactly.
like, instantly win the game. But it's just greedy, and wrong.
And then an interesting ending in the end with Thunderbluff Valiant, and you both going to fatigue. And did you make a quick math? Like when you got Thunderbluff Valiant, were you like, I want this. This is easy. I'm definitely going to buff my totems and win it. Or were you scared for a moment that you might actually not have enough?
I didn't do the math. I was just like, I mean, there's no option, so I might as well
just
play it
out.
out.
You just like totem up every
I was
turn.
just sitting there and being like taunt. Because if I got taunt, then like his Grom just trades up into my taunt, and like I don't even have to do math anymore because it's like just straight up win. But whatever.
All right. So after losing the first game in this tournament, you were able to win. How many at the moment? This is round 7, so you're 6-1, and only 2 more rounds tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, well, that would be pretty impressive, like, from the loss in the first round just to go all the way to top 16.
Yeah, I actually, like, after the first round loss, I was like, all right, that's it. First LAN was a lot of fun.
That's done, like, just going home.
But whatever. Seems to work.
So how did you enjoy, like, the tournament so far? You said you've played in the kind of like a dumpster, like the last tables, basically, where people just, like, drop out and they're like, I'm done with this tournament. But you were like slowly climbing up, like. But overall, like, how do you enjoy the first LAN?
It's pretty nice. It's also kind of cool because I've not met like most of the people in the Hearthstone scene. Just like get out here, just meet them in person once, and like say hi. It's pretty nice. Yeah.
So have you met like any specific person like you are actually befriended online, like because you grind ladder a lot, so like you just bump into those people all the time? Was there like any specific player like, oh, hey, you're like Mitsuhida, we've played so many times before, like whatever?
Yeah, like, I mean, I prep most, like, out of everybody, of course, with board control. So it was nice to finally meet him. I hadn't met him before. And I've
heard he's part of a pretty good team. Well, He's got really good teammates, so I'm told.
And then, Mitsuhida or Mitsuhida.
Yeah, Mitsuhida, I'm sure actually.
Anyways, also, I discussed it with him, and Mongoloid before the tournament, so that was nice meeting them as well.
And how is Virtus Pro treating you? Like, are you practicing with the guys?
I'm pretty happy with Virtus Pro. It's a nice team. Yeah, I met my the manager today because I also have like other games here, and then yeah, I'm feeling well there. It's a good team.
Perfect, awesome, man. Like, I would love to see you in the top 16. You know, like the first LAN you actually come. Obviously, like disregarding HCD because HCD was like a great tournament. It was kind of like a LAN, but a bit different because more like an invitational. But here, just coming to the first tournament, especially because like. Well, you were practicing with Nixley before as well, and Nixley at the Hearthstone Fest. Like, are you still in contact with Nixley? Are you still
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like he made like what top 4 of the Hearthstone Festival.
Yeah, I think he got like even 3rd place, but whatever.
Yeah. But still, like great performance for him and now for you. So hopefully you will make it. Raven, do you have any more questions to Bunnyhoppor?
No, I think we covered everything. Just congratulations on the match, and you feeling confident about tomorrow?
We'll see.
All right, perfect. And
Thanks.
I'm actually not sure if the second match is still going on.
No, it's not.
All right, so guys, it seems like this will be it for today. Defilor 130 versus Swiss King. Yeah, because like we had the second match for you guys, Swiss King versus Defilor as a backup, but the guys took a lot of time, so the match finished. Defilor won. So Defilor is at the moment undefeated, 7-0 in the Swiss, and Swiss King, well, 6-1. Still a great score, but that will be it for the first day of Dreamhack Valencia here in Spain. Tomorrow we'll continue with the next 2 rounds of Swiss, and then with the top 16. We'll not be showing all of the matches from top 16, but we'll try to get the best one for you, and then obviously the last day where we'll have the top 8. So thanks so much for joining us today. From me, from Raven, from Bunnyhoppor, all the other casters, thanks so much for watching, and see you guys tomorrow.